for our math lessons. Today we're going to be learning all about absolute value. We're going to be on the same page as your notes packet as yesterday. So you guys can open up to 9-1 and all the way at the bottom you should see the words absolute value. That's what we're going to be talking about today. It's just absolute value. So the definition for absolute value, we're going to jot that down. It is going to be the integer's distance from 0 on a number line. If you need to right now, you could pause this video so you could jot that down. I'll give you a quick minute though. The integer's distance from 0 on a number line. You should be adding that into your notes right now. If you haven't finished writing that, I am going to be moving on so you can quickly pause the video to finish jotting down that definition. So what we have is we are going to be talking about how far away a number is from 0. So let's say, for example, that I'm writing on an elevator. And on my elevator, I can go up floors and I can also go down floors. Let's say that they also have, that they also have a basement level with where you could park. So I could either go up floors on the elevator, or I can also travel down floors on the elevator to the ones below the main level. So let's think about what happens when I get on the elevator. Let's say that I get on the elevator and I want to travel to the 3rd floor. So I'm going to start here at the ground level and I'm going to travel up to the 3rd floor. Well, how far away did I travel? I've traveled 3 floors. Let's say though that I actually need to go down to the 3rd level of the parking garage, which is below ground. So what's going to happen is I'm going to travel down to 3 numbers below it. Well, even though I'm at a -3 right now, how many floors did I travel? I traveled 3. So no matter which way I traveled, I'm still traveling 3. Either I traveled 3 up or I traveled 3 down. So what's going to happen with absolute value? It's going to be the positive version of the number. When we're writing absolute value, it's going to have an unusual symbol. It's going to have a symbol that's going to be these 2 lines. Let's jot down those 2 lines right now if I have a number inside of it. So if I write down an example, the absolute value of 3. Again, the 2 lines on each of those sides are going to stand for a symbol for absolute value. So it wants to know how far away from 0 is 3. As we just saw, it is 1, 2, 3 away from 0. So the absolute value of a positive 3 is going to be 3. But as we saw, when I traveled down to floors that were below ground level, I was finding the absolute value of now a -3. Again, my symbol for absolute value is going to be those lines on either side of the number. That's going to mean absolute value. It's a little bit unusual looking, but that's how we write absolute value. So I need to figure out, well, how far away from 0 was -3? As we saw, even though I was going downwards, it was still 1, 2, 3 away from 0. So the absolute value of a -3 is also going to be a +3. No matter which way I travel, it's going to be the positive version of that number. So let's try looking at it on a number line now instead of kind of like an elevator. So I have some dots drawn on here right now. If you guys want, you can quickly kind of draw different points at one of these. Just pick one of these to graph on the number line that's above the definition for absolute value. So let's talk about all these numbers. At the smiley face, I have the number 2. So I want to figure out, well, what's the absolute value of 2? When I look at this, how far away from 0 is 2. If I look at this, it looks like I traveled over 2. So the absolute value of +2 is going to be 2. Let's now look at the flower one though. At the flower, I want to find the absolute value of -1. If you look, I drew the symbol for the absolute value longer than I drew the symbol for -1. So again, you should be doing one of these examples in your notes as well. So you pick which one you're going to follow along with me and add into your notes. You do not have to do all 4 of them. So when I look at this, the absolute value of -1 is going to be a +1 because it's 1 away from 0. Let's quickly do the last 2. The absolute value of -4 at the star is going to be a +4 because again, it is 4 away from 0. And finally, if I look at my colored circle over here, I have the absolute value of a +4 now. Well, I have that 4 is still 4 away from 0. So no matter what, the absolute value is always going to be the positive version of the number. I'm about out of time on my video limit, so I am going to be done for today.